Very unfair when a political opponent, is prosecuted by the DOJ, by Biden's DOJ. So they're losing in every poll. They're losing in almost every demographic, and I think they feel this is the way they're going to try and win. And that's not the way it goes. It'll be bedlam in the country. It's a very bad thing. It's a very bad precedent. As we said, it's the opening of a Pandora's box, and it's a very sad thing that's happened with this whole situation. When they talk about threat to democracy.
Yeah. Welcome back to our special Can Donald Trump Win? I want to go to Dr. Sebastian Gorka, host on Salem Radio, host of the America First podcast, and a former special advisor to President Trump. Also, Dr. Gorka is always generous enough to join us on my SiriusXM radio show, Breitbart News Daily, every Thursday at 8 o'clock. Dr. Gorka, how are you, sir?
I'm good, especially since my worries about you taking over Alex Marlowe's slot have been completely alleviated. And our discussions every Thursday are amazing. So, guys, you better tune in. Not just national security, it's big picture stuff. It's religion, it's philosophy. Tune in every Thursday morning.
I appreciate that. I got the more important question I want to ask you second. Let's do the first simple question. Can Donald Trump win in 2024?
I wrote an article with that title for AMAC. It's also on my Substack as well. Look, if you look at the empirical objective factors, absolutely. No man in human history has received more than 133 million votes for the presidency in two separate elections. So, it's just a fact that he received more votes than any incumbent in presidential history. The math is good. If the election were today, according to the polls, he would walk in with a 49-state slam dunk like Reagan against Carter. But that's not the issue. The issue is the objective fact. The issue is the left that is out of control, the left that is using everything. Fannie Willis in Georgia, Judge Engeron in New York, Jack Smith in D.C., Judge Chutkan, to put this man behind bars. They know they can't win with what Dan Bongino, my buddy, calls the senile old bag of rotting oatmeal in the White House. They can't win fair and square. So he could win right now if there were a fair election. The question is, will they let?
That's the more important question. So let's go dive deep into that. Will they let Donald Trump win? What does that mean to you?
Well, look, this is kind of impossible to predict. You know my background. Before I joined the administration, I spent 20, 30 years in national security, and my thing was irregular warfare, counterterrorism, and most specifically, strategy. I love grand strategy. And I can tell you, I've written books on the grand strategy of our enemies like China, jihadi groups like ISIS, Russia, North Korea. I can do that. Why? Because they may be evil bastards, but they're actually rational actors. Even the weird ones like Lil Kim and the Hermit Kingdom can be predicted in their behavior strategically. However, I can't channel lunatics, Mike. I can't predict what people who are riven through with bile and hatred are going to do in the next 10 months. And that's the Democrat Party. I mean, what one piece of evidence. When you indict President Trump the first time in New York, and he gets more popular and he raises more money, you should say, that's not what we expected. And then you do it again in D.C., and again, he's more popular. He raises even more money. At that point, what does a rational actor do? They say, we probably shouldn't do any more of this because it's good for President Trump. Instead, they indict him 3 more times. Then they try and remove him from the ballots in Colorado, in Maine. These people aren't rational actors. They are hate-driven lunatics. So I can't predict them.
We need to isolate that sound clip and make that on the board. I can't predict the behavior of lunatics, Mike. What is the human nature drive that is leading these people to lunacy?
Couple of things. So number one, a desperation to maintain power. You look at what happened. Hunter Biden, the president's son, is in contravention of a legal subpoena. He's committed a crime. Congress has subpoenaed him, and he refuses to come in to testify behind closed doors. Instead, when that committee has its next hearing about holding him in contempt of Congress, what does he do? He comes into the hearing room with his entourage, with his lawyers, to sit down and gloat like a princeling out of the city states of Florence, right? He's I'm a Biden. You can subpoena me. I don't have to do anything. So there's this arrogance to maintain power, number one. Number two, what's driving them? Just hatred. Why? I said this when I was in the White House. I said it after I left the White House. Donald Trump won despite the GOP, not thanks to the GOP. This is the first guy. I mean, look, it's funny that an immigrant like me has to remind the Americans who are born here that there's something very different about what happened in 2016. From George Washington to Obama, every single president in American history was connected. Why? They were all members of the political and military elite. They were all senators, congressmen, governors, or retired generals. From Washington to Obama. Along comes a real estate mogul, a reality TV star from Manhattan, and he becomes the president the first time he runs. Nobody does that. Not even Reagan did that. And what's the problem with that? You're not owned by anyone. Nobody made you. You're not owned by big oil, by big pharma, by the unions. Nobody owns you. As a result, he remains an existential threat to the vested interests in this stinking city, Washington, D.C., whether they be Democrat, whether they be Rhino, whether they be the big lobbies. This man is a threat to the swamp existentially. So these are, the core motivations for why they have to stop.
My final thought, my final suggestion is to make sure that we always keep a level head throughout these next few months here and be a happy warrior. We should do a whole special on what it means to be happy warrior, actually. But keeping a level head, staying calm throughout this time, especially when the left is in total lunatic hysteria mode, and they're going to try to bring you down with them. Because people who are hysterical, or people who are very angry, but people who are hysterical are easily manipulated. And that's what they want to do with people. And I'm reminded of the scene from Hamlet. And Hamlet's talking to, it's our second Shakespeare reference today. Hamlet's talking to Horatio. And he says, so we'll put it up on the screen here so you can read yourself. We're low on time, so you can read the Shakespearean yourself. But the point of it is, the translation here is, Horatio, I admire you because you take everything that life hands you, the good and the bad, with a calm acceptance. You're passionate, but you never lose your reason. You've mastered your emotions. And he says at the end, for that reason, I keep you close to my heart. He values Horatio because he keeps a level head. We need to be Horatio. And this is ancient wisdom. This is biblical wisdom to keep a level head through it all. Titus 2 talks about who you should make elders of your church. And he says, older men are to be sober-minded, dignified, self-controlled, sound in faith, in love, and in steadfastness. That's who we need to be throughout this election as well. Steadfast means to stay. Stead means to stay, and fast means to, but stead actually has more of a connotation of relying on. So you stay, but you more rely on. And then fast means like a fastener, like you stay, hold true to something. So you hold true, you stay hard in the truth. That's what steadfast means. So let's not let the hysterical bring you down.